Hey, I'm Andrew Farquhar, the founder of Liberty Digital, and this is the Snackable Marketing Podcast, where I give you compact but highly actionable and valuable tips that you can use right away to improve your business online. So thanks for listening. And in the last several episodes, I've discussed things like user experience, defining your goals and your strategy, and how each element on a page needs to have a specific purpose that's tied to a specific strategic goal. So I've spent a fair amount of time on goals and strategy, but that's because they are so critical to being successful online. So the last aspect, for a little while at least, will be the user flow and the site flow for your website. So even though the names sound similar, they're not the same thing. Site flow is a top-level view of your site and its complexity of how the pages connect to each other in a hierarchy. Whereas user flow is like a narrative from one page to another with a beginning, middle, and end, similar to chapters in a book. So when planning out your site, you'll want to start with the site flow and make a site map, which is a visual hierarchy of all your pages, where people will enter the site, with the home page, for instance, or landing pages, and where they'll go next after that page. And then finally where they'll convert and perform some sort of action that you want them to take. This is also a chance for you to define the purpose for each web page and what its goals are. Once you have your site flow defined with a site map, a visual hierarchy of the pages, then it's time to focus on the user flow. There are two different kinds of user flows we'll focus on right now. One is a mid-level, which is a flow from page to page, and the other is a more specific user flow from beginning, middle, and end of each individual page. The user flows are a lot more complicated than the site flow, and they're directly tied to the goals that you want to achieve and what kind of content you're going to be using to achieve those goals for each page and how those pages then combine to create a narrative. So to give an example, let's say you have a landing page for a downloadable ebook that you want to use to capture leads. So you have pay-per-click ads in social media that are advertised in the ebook, and when people click on the ad, they land on the landing page that's displaying the ebook and all of its value, along with a form that they can fill out and give you their email address so they can download the book. Then once the visitors have given you their email address and name, then they're directed to another page where they can download the ebook. And while they're there, there's ads for, say, videos or something for them to watch or blog posts to read. And they go from that page then to a blog post. And then from the blog post back to social media. So in this example, you can see how a visitor is converted based on the strategy of the user flow from one page to another with specific content on each page. And this is the basics of a marketing funnel for your website. Bringing in visitors and having them follow a specific path with strategic goals, having them convert into a lead, and then nurturing them with additional emails and content, and finally converting them into a customer or client. This isn't as straightforward as the site flow is. It's a lot more complicated because there's a lot of different angles and paths that a person can take. They might jump around from one spot to another several times before they finally reach the end and convert. But it's critical to have everything defined and strategically set up beforehand so that they're more likely to convert at the end and follow all the way through without bouncing off your website. So to put this into practice, start with defining your goals and your strategy, and I'll add a link to the other podcast where I talk about how to do that. Once you have those defined, then start to come up with a site flow and a site map with a hierarchy of your pages. What pages are you going to need, and what kind of content is going to go on each page, and what's its specific goal. Then where are people going to enter? Is it going to be the home page only, or are there going to be blog posts that you'll use as landing pages, or specific landing pages designed for a very specific audience and purpose? And then once you have the entry points defined, then where are they going to go from there? And what kind of information are you going to provide them to help convert them into leads and then customers? After you have the site flow defined, then it's on to user flow for the individual pages and how people will move from one page to another, and what are the goals for each page that you need to achieve in order to make a person convert into a lead or just to a customer. And assemble content for that page in a hierarchy, again, that will lead to a person wanting to convert. And once you have these pieces completed, you've got a really sound strategy to move forward with that your competitors most likely do not have. Most people just jump into things without defining them and run into problems. So I hope this was helpful for you, and thank you again for listening. I'm Andrew Farquhar, and in the next episode, I'll be discussing content marketing, what it is, why it's important, and some examples of how you can use it to grow your business online.